Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Weekly Grind with STEERus, where we meet with experts to talk about the future of work. And today's guest, we have Cecile Moulard. She is the CEO and co-founder of MixR, M-I-X-R. And you're thinking, what does that mean? Are they making kitchen appliances? No, no, no. They are creating actually not even creating, they are leveraging the power of communities in the workplace so that people can interconnect, feel, more involved. And of course, when people feel like they have a community, they have a tribe, they tend to stick around a little longer. So it boosts retention and it, offers all kinds of opportunities for learning and engagement. So with that, I won't steal her thunder. Hi, Cecile.
Hi, good to meet you. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you for inviting me. And you've got such a tremendous background, and I love how you put it forward that you fully embrace servant leadership. And not only that, you've got yoga and holistic approaches behind. Can you just talk to us a little bit about your background so our audience gets to know you a bit?
Yeah, with pleasure. So first of all, as you may hear it, I am French, so European background, been in the US for 9 years now, still learning a lot about American culture. Loving it. And my background is mainly tech. I launched Amazon in France. I went IPO with an online dating company that we develop in 17 countries. And also I'm a director on some public company board. And because all that is really serious and, kind of a more masculine energy, I really needed something to balance that. And yoga is my way of balancing it. And so I'm also a yoga teacher and I'm practicing yoga and meditation every day.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know, I haven't done yoga in a while and I feel like it's slipped. I'm not as grounded as I need to be. So that's, I got to bring my yoga practice back. So with that, let's jump into this. So what we really want to talk about is the future of work. You are already on it, given the focus that you have with MixR, recognizing how this whole new era of remote onboarding doesn't look like it's going to go away anytime after COVID does. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think COVID just probably pushed us 10 years ahead. It would have happened anyway. It's just pushing us and being confronted to the problem much quicker than we thought it would be. So all the trends were there. We knew we would get there. And I think the challenge today is to find the right balance. When you have people that say, never going back to the office, but then you see growing, increasing number of people feeling so lonely that that loneliness gets to burnout gets to disengagement, and then people leaving the company. So we know we have a huge issue here, growing issues of loneliness. 61% of employees in the US in 2021 feel lonely. We have to do something about that. So we have that part. And then we have people that say, I need balance. I need to be able to see my colleagues from time to time. I need to find ways to reconnect with human beings, not only our screen. We love it, but it's good to have it like maybe 1, 2, 3 times a week, but no more. Then we need to meet. We need to remember that we're human, social animal.
That's right. And I've also seen a statistic looking at young folks, so college students, and more than 3/4 classify themselves as seriously lonely, which is just heartbreaking to think that here they're offered an opportunity, college, it's their peers, it's the best time of their lives in college, and they're lonely. And I think that that's spilling over into the workplace as well.
Yeah, and I think this subject of loneliness needs to be taken very seriously. And in the US, you have someone that I admire, really. His name is Vivek Murthy, used to be Surgeon General of the US. And as a Surgeon General, usually you pick one thing that you want to really work on. His one thing was loneliness. And he wrote a book called Together. And his idea of loneliness is that he said it was the root of most of the health issues people have, including cardiovascular issues, everything. So loneliness is becoming such a huge problem. We need to fix that. And that's what one of the things that we're really trying to put forward in cooperation with MixR is fixing the loneliness issue.
And so in addition to, maybe this is an opportunity just to say a little bit about how MixR is fixing this with your technology and how you're creating these communities. But I'd also like to hear, and I'm sure our audience would, what other initiatives you're hearing about that companies and even governments and other agencies are doing to combat the issue of loneliness, as well as other issues that employees are struggling with. Can you go ahead?
Yeah, I think what companies do today is really they're trying to measure how many friends you have at work. And that's mainly what they're trying to understand. And then when they know about how many friends you have at work, they try to push you into doing things together. This is the missing piece. This is what MixR brings, where we come in and say, well, what we know is that when you share an interest with someone, let's say you like yoga, I like yoga, we work in the same office, and we start talking about yoga. This is a very good seed to create something different, some kind of friendship, some kind of support, someone that will take care of me, maybe ask, how are you doing this morning? Little things. So that's what we want to favor. For now, companies are really trying to assess the issue. They don't really have some perfect, unique answer to that. We're trying to offer an opportunity for them to solve that issue by creating communities around center of interest for all their employees. And this, what is really important to us and should be important to everyone, is you need to empower the employee to do that. You cannot impose emotional commitment. You cannot impose engagement. It cannot come from top down. It has to come from employees. Are they willing to do something about it? You can't do it for them. You can only create an environment that will help those employees create that.
And what are you hearing about other employers and what they're doing for their initiatives? So you said, you're suggesting that a top-down approach isn't going to be as effective, at least as a bottoms-up, when it's organic and people believe in it and they embrace it more. Can you think of any other examples you can share with the audience? If people
you have a lot of things done in the wellness industry. They're trying to push their employees to, go do some sport, physical activities, and that's very important. They also have a lot, much more than before, support in mental health if needed. But what's interesting to me, and maybe it's because I'm European, I don't know about that, but what I'm seeing is a lot of things that are addressing individual issues, not really the collective. And I think we need more ways to create common, things together. I think HR is trying to do that in most corporations, trying to create events around celebration, cultural celebration, around trying to create birthdays celebration. So celebration is really one thing that HR is trying to create. But it's hard when it only comes from one space. It has to come from the individual in order to be really powerful, because we all know that if we're trying to solve the problem for you, you're going to go, maybe you're going to have it's going to be better, but the best is to give you all the tools so that you can solve your own issues. And I think this is what companies are now understanding today. They're trying to really find new ways to solve this issue that is growing and costing a lot of money to corporations. It's a business problem.
And where we're coming from, of course, is STEERus. We're, focused on soft skills. Would you say that some of the problem stems from a lack of soft skills, where people call them human skills, social skills, life skills, people skills, a lot of different names. Do you think that that's the source of, for some of this friction and loneliness and the issues in the workplace?
Yeah, I think that's an amazing question, by the way. What I found really interesting is the fear of disagreement, and our inability to take on disagreement as an opportunity to learn and maybe get something new. So for me, one of the things that is the most important is to reconsider the power of disagreement and the importance of knowing to deal with it in a way that disagreement can become creative. I think disagreement is really important. It doesn't have to be negative. We can decide that it is positive for me and for the community to have disagreement and be able to deal with them. So for me, this is one of the skills that all of us need to work on a lot more than we do currently today, I would say.
And in fact, that was the impetus really behind STEERus. I watched a pitch contest, the finals at South by Southwest, tremendous amount of innovation and amazing judges. And these fantastic entrepreneurs, all very young, didn't want feedback. The girls had crocodile tears. They broke down. They said, as soon as they had a little bit of criticism, something negative, maybe this idea isn't going to work. Maybe you need to rethink. And I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but this was a pattern. And some of the young men who were the entrepreneurs, like, no, yeah. Then they were very agitated and very strongly opposed to getting this feedback. And that was my light bulb moment.
And you know what? I think with the pandemic, we even unlearn even more about accepting disagreement and maybe conflict, okay? So because I'm behind my screen, I feel some security, some safety, and so I don't have to confront myself. So for me, part of going back to the office is also reigniting this human thing that is so important. Is when someone is in a room, suddenly we are exchanging energy. I mean, when someone is close to me, the environment changes, and we need to live with this. We need to accept it as an immense opportunity to learn and to grow. So yeah, I would say the most important skill that is missing, soft skill missing for me today, embrace disagreement. Just loving it. Look forward for disagreement so that you can learn and be more creative.
Because none of us are perfect. We all have opportunities for improvement, right? I mean, this is a lesson that needs to be taught, I think,
Yeah, and the other thing I think is, agreement or perfection is a moving target, okay? We are in a world where change is continuous and goes quicker and quicker, okay? There is no way you can be set in your ideas when everything is changing around you. Doesn't make sense. So that's why, for me, it is so important that people understand that disagreement is something they need to learn from. They need to really embrace it, because they're going to have more and more. We need to adapt.
So to that end then, Cecile, what would your message be for educators? Because we know that soft skills, for the most part, are not being taught in colleges and universities. They're being taught in some exceptional private schools, but for the most part, they're not there. So what would your message be to educators, given all of this that you've just shared with us? What do you want them to do? What should they do?
Again, another amazing question. I think educators should help their students embrace change. What does that mean? It means understanding the mechanism of fear. Okay? If you understand how fear is created, then you can do something about it. Then you can decide that you're not going to go to fear as your, way to make a decision. And I believe that today, one of the things that we're living is the power of fear now is taking everything. So how do we tame it? How do we, replace fear with something else? You can call it love. You can call it commitment to yourself. You can call it, openness to community. But unless you understand how you build fear and how you can overcome it, if you're able to do that, then it's the key to so many other things. Because when you're out of fear, but it's not about being out of fear stupidly. You need some fear to make yourself, secure and feel safe. But I'm talking about the fear that prevents you from being able to listen and to taking all the opportunities that you may have from the outside just because you're fearful. So for me, this would be very important. And the second thing is the power of commitment to the younger. Through commitment, what's really interesting is you get to engagement, because we're talking a lot about engagement, but the feeling I have is people don't really think about what it means. What does that mean, being engaged? Well, engagement is emotional. It's an emotional commitment to colleagues or to an organization. So it's something extremely human, complex, difficult to understand. So the only thing you can do for student, or if you're a manager with your employees, is create the right environment for people to feel that they can emotionally commit. And they're not going to be, have some bad reaction from anyone. So the power of commitment and taming fear would be, for me, two main things, new things that we can teach our student or next generation of leaders, and the power of community. I want to emphasize that because the feeling we have at MixR is that by really pushing this power of community, embracing community, what you're also doing is you're letting emerge new type of leaders. Being a community leader within an organization can be so unbelievably powerful. I remember talking to one of our clients who had this big community of women in tech. The community of women in tech was created by a 24-year-old assistant somewhere. And she was just amazing. And you know what? Nobody was really paying attention to what she was doing. And when she left the company, the community died with her. So the company was not able to recognize her power at creating community. And I think this is really very important nowadays for organizations to embrace the power of community and reward people that are creating communities within the organization. I don't know if that makes sense for you, but
it makes a ton of sense. And I look at it that where we are in the world right now, many of us are caving, still in this prolonged state of, of stasis with COVID. We have developed fears, which you've talked about, to leave our homes. And so we're disconnecting. And even though we're more connected than ever, through this and through everything, we're disconnected. And so that community is what can pull us in, because we find things where we're relatable, right? Like we talked about yoga. That's how, we even kicked things off here. And so Last question, Cecile. I'm going to ask you to fill in the blank. The world needs more
trust.
Yeah.
More trust in ourselves and more trust in others. And if I may add, less judgment, less fear, and more commitment.
I love that. And on that note, we are going to wrap up. So, merci beaucoup d'avoir rejoint notre café chat aujourd'hui. Cecile Moulard est la fondatrice de MixR. So, thank you again, Cecile Moulard, founder of MixR, who is building communities and really trying to overcome loneliness in the workplace and bring a level of engagement that goes beyond, as you say, doing something, but emotionally feeling something, that it's actually being achieved and having an outcome. So with that, we're going to wrap up our weekly grind, virtual coffee chat, and we'll see everybody here next week, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Cecile.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a very lovely day.